that how you pronounce it, Canada?
Yeah, A.
A. Fellow
You spell it CANADA.
what do I call you? Do I call you Cross Comics? What do you go by?
You can call me Rick.
Rick. Hey,
I
Rick.
go by Rick.
Tell us about yourself. How'd you get into comics and all that?
I got into comics. Well, doing comics or just reading comics?
Both.
Well, I grew up watching Super Friends and stuff like that when I was a kid. But I didn't read much, and my mom wanted to get me reading, so she bought me Christian Archies at in a gift shop that they have at one of these Christian camps. So I started reading comic books through that, and eventually I ended up starting to read them on a regular basis when around the time Superman died. And I decided I want, there was all sorts of Christian comics out there, usually Bible stories rehashed or angels, demons stuff, or, somebody's life story put in comic book form. But, there wasn't any like superhero stuff. So I decided I'm going to make Christian superheroes.
Sweet. Yeah, it's really interesting. I feel like if you go back into the 60s and 70s and 80s in like Marvel and DC Comics, they used to have pretty faithful Christian themes to a lot of their superheroes. At least, somebody would give nominal nods to it periodically. And then, they've kind of just like really suppressed that. I mean, we have Nightcrawler from back in the day was basically a priest. And you don't see much of that appearing in the comics these days anymore. It just feels like they shifted with the culture to try to remove messages of Christ, much like a lot of our government institutions have, much like a lot of things in the public square have done. And I don't know. I attribute it to cowardice personally.
Yeah, I would too. Not wanting to stand up. Give they how do you put it? They give the 1% a voice and take away the voice from the 99%.
Right. Why do you think they do
or maybe
that?
It's a little bit.
It's probably more like 70-80%, but still, why do you think they don't want? I mean, they clearly don't want Christians as customers at all. I mean, it's hard for me to go into a comic store and just even allow my 10-year-old child to read something off the rack because I never know what's going to be in there. I was talking about the Hulk omnibus I was just reading, and I know he was reading it, and I got to a point about halfway through, and they start doing some psychoanalysis on Samson, who is a Samson was, as a character was put in there as a biblical reference. First off, and he's talking about having sexual energy derived from fighting the Hulk, and talks about homoeroticism and things like that. And it's like, this is a book for children. Like, what are you doing?
It's crazy. Well, there's the thing too. Comics they were originally for kids. Now I think they're supposed to be for adults as much as kids. So they put stuff in there that kids probably don't understand. Although you don't even really want them to know about it, and then but adults understand.
I don't understand either. So I assume the Canadian Shield here, which is your book, which I'm going to pull up on the screen on Indiegogo right now. The link is in the description down there. Is family friendly. There's going to be no weird sexualizations or anything like that.
No, definitely not.
Fine to share with your kids. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
And I've created a whole comic book universe that's going to be that way.
Nice. What's your whole universe?
Well, there's Canadian Shield up next. It's going to be a character called Snowdrift, and then I have one called The Flame, and then one called Insecto, Ozona, The Wiz, and Lectide. And I've got many more beyond that, but those are the books I want to bring out. And eventually, those 7 characters are going to form a team called the Holy Warriors.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. So cool. All right. So other than just being Canadian, what's the concept of the character here?
Well, he's a Superman type character. He's a Native American born in the early 1800s. He's transported through time to our present, and out in the he lived in what my city at the time, but you don't want to transport him into a metropolitan area, so I transport him way up in the middle of nowhere so he can slowly get used to the modern world.
Sweet.
And God, and of course it's God that transports him through time and all that, but also God, at the same time God takes a suit from I'm not going to say the far future, but the distant future, not distant, the near distant future, like 50, 60 years in the future. And the suit is able to give people incredible abilities. And God takes that suit from the future and brings it to our present. And an angel appears to the Canadian Shield, or as he's known at that point, Man Like Cougar, and tells him to put the suit on and travel south.
Rock on. So he comes to America?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, he will end up back in Hamilton. Well, I guess he'll probably end up in the States at some point on some adventure.
You should tell my parents or my readers they come to America because we're pretty American centric here.
Yeah, well, a lot of mine are on mine too, but I have a YouTube channel myself, and I have quite a few. Well, I wouldn't say quite a few, but I have a fair amount of followers, and most of them are American, but they've fallen in love with the Canadian Shield.
Nice. Well, very cool. Yeah, if this sounds interesting to you guys, check this out. Now, you were telling me before the stream here that there's actually a Christian arts convention in Los Angeles, and I had never heard of this, which upsets me because I should be going to this every year, probably speaking at this every year. And it's down in Los Angeles, as you said. It looks like this year's version is October 2020. I should be able to make that. I should get myself on the list there.
Yeah.
And you went to this like 5-6 years ago, you said?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was the 4th annual one that I was at, 4th or 5th. So.
Very nice.
I'm not sure whether it says which year that this is, anywhere there.
I can't tell. But what was your experience there? Tell me a little bit about the con.
It was pretty good. I liked it. It was my first con ever going to. The people were very. I had one table. They put me in one area, but because I needed electricity, for my display, they put me over somewhere else. It was no problem. In fact, I met a very good friend now there, Matt Costin. I'm not sure you probably know who he is.
I don't.
Okay, he was helping out. What's his name before he died? James. James. What's his name? They were doing Agenda, the book Agenda.
Rock on. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so I met him and his brother there. It was a good time. I didn't make any money, but I learned a lot. From going to con.
Lots of voice actors here, so it's a lot of people involved in. It looks like there was a Justice League cartoon, and there's a guy who played Superman in there. Pretty cool. Yeah. Did you interact with any of the voice writers or voice actors or anything like that?
No, I didn't interact with too many people. It's the only one there from manning my booth all day, so so he unfortunately couldn't get away much.
Nice. Should I invade this con, guys? Does that sound fun? Why don't we all descend on this? Are you guys? Is anybody close to LA who wants to join us here? That'd be a lot of fun. There keeps being talks of getting people into cons. I'm a little scared of cons right now. I'm not going to lie. Since my friend Preston Poulter, it was a couple weeks ago. It had a guy in a mask come up and kind of act weird and threatening towards him. I don't know. I got to weigh the balance of whether it's worth it to take the risk there at this point for any con, just because if it's known publicly where I'll be, I don't know what'll happen here. But yeah,
and it's only like $50 a table too, so
that's not bad.
It's 50 US. It's a little bit more than that for me, but
not too bad. I think Wizard World, where I just went out, the table was $200. So yeah, it gets a bit worse. Now I know the guy from Rags, Brian Ball, who's the writer and creator of Rags, says he's doing his last convention at WonderCon very shortly. WonderCon is going to be in Anaheim also. And the dates for that are when? April 10th through 12th. So we're coming up on about 2 months from that. I kind of want to go to that. I don't know. Anaheim's a little bit far. Not sure if I'll make it down for that. I don't like attending cons like anymore as just like a person who's showing up and hanging out. I feel like I need to sell, or I need to be a guest speaker or something like that to make it worthwhile. So an Archaven plus JDA booth at that con. That'd be pretty fun. You're in LA. Ooh, let's talk about this. If I can stay with you and I don't have to have a hotel class, it makes it a lot easier. So let's chat about that later. So cool. Yeah. So what's going on with you? How close are you done? I know my phone never stops ringing. I have a like just robust phone life, and it's annoying. So I try to shut it down as fast as I possibly can. Sorry about that, guys, but just is going to be an aspect of my life for the foreseeable future. So got to deal with it. But how far are you into the Canadian Shield at this point?
It's all drawn up. Pope, I'm not sure whether you know who Pope Raven is. Somebody in the YouTube community.
Yeah,
he usually gets around a lot.
Starfire is the best Titan, I gotta say.
But he is doing the coloring, and
sweet.
I've gotten 7 pages back from him so far. It's a 24-page book. So
cool. And not too bad. You can get the book digitally for $5. So seems like a pretty standard digital price. Where that's what you get from Marvel or DC if you bought a book at about that length. So good stuff. Easy to check out and easy to support. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't know. People probably want to hear a little bit about the news of the day while we're here. You're a Canadian fan, Drake? Disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. It's cool. We love our Canadian friends when they're friends. The news of the day is I am dealing with another blacklist and deplatforming situation, which is developing. And basically my book, which is supposed to come out next week, The Steam Knight, has been removed from a platform which was going to be, frankly, some guaranteed sales. And it was going to be something kind of big. And I can't speak to exactly what it is yet because I'm still trying to negotiate with people responsible for this. And so I'm going to give them till Monday to rectify the situation since I'm pretty anti-deplatforming, and it's been a consistent theme that people have attempted to remove my books across all of this. I've gotten, I had problems with Glorified, my final book for my Christian science fiction trilogy. And somebody at Amazon flagged that. And it took several days for that book to get back online. And it botched and returned every pre-order, of which there were hundreds, and refunded them. So somebody at Amazon messed with me on that, no doubt because of its Christian themes for its deal. I've obviously had deplatforming problems from some conventions who have caused me a lot of grief by calling me names and things like that and libeling me. And so I've dealt with that. And now I've got this situation brewing, which is a platform to sell my books. and I don't know what to do about it just yet. I've checked into the legal ramifications because, as you know, when me and my friends got out, deplatformed a couple times via big platforms such as Patreon or whatnot, we have gone and taken legal action, and that's a big thing to where we've been able to handle that so far because this guy's done things quietly. And did it before my book actually got up on the platform so that there wasn't a consumer arbitration issue with things. I don't really have a legal means by which to deal with this. And so I'm just going to put them on blast. And I told them I'm going to put them on blast. I'm going to make sure that people boycott their platform if it happens. I'm going to make sure they understand that this is a racial issue with my being Hispanic. And if that happens, which I'm praying that these guys see a little bit of sense. So far, I've gotten the first email I got on this. I'll leave the names out for now. Was sorry if I stepped in it, put myself in an awkward position. The head of this company says he's been trolled by you in the past, which I haven't trolled this guy, so I don't know who he is. And he's not comfortable with having you be a part of this. He makes the final decisions. I'm sorry. Your book looks very interesting. So the editor who was in charge of this he sent me an email prior saying I was in. So I do have that, like in terms of contract law, saying that I was in. So there might be something there because California is very robust on contract law. I had that email come to me. So that I got and I emailed to say, hey, I emailed yesterday. And my response was, hello, I've received word I've been blacklisted from your company by one of your editors. It was some nasty personal attacks made against me, which I believe is due to the fact that I'm a vocal Hispanic with political opinions against the establishment, which many racist folk in the industry don't want me to be able to hold. This isn't right on any level. I'm in the middle of several lawsuits which are going forward successfully based on discrimination. And because of this, I want to put an end to this kind of behavior. An apology for unprofessional behavior is due to me, along with reinstating my book to your platform, as was promised in the email at first, which is a legally binding contract under state of California law. As deplatforming and taking away sales from independent authors due to some personal animus against me over politics is utterly disgusting, and trying to tarnish my reputation with great folk like this person with libelous claims is even worse. I have a very large platform. I'm not afraid to use it to let people know that this platform appears to be bigoted and racist against outspoken Hispanics if I'm going to be treated unfairly. But I want to give you the chance to work things out and apologize to me for this reprehensible behavior first. Thank you for your time. Let's end this political blackballing nonsense, stop the industry from having fascist tendencies, and act like adults going forward. So that's what I sent yesterday. Like I said, I'm trying to fix this privately, and I'm not outing these people yet. As we've got some time, he did respond to me this morning about an hour ago. The owner of this company says our editors do not and are not authorized to enter into commitments on our behalf. I don't know about that. I have to find out about the contract of this guy, whether he does or not. At this time, we're not interested in having your book. So just very curt reply. Obviously, not willing to play ball, not willing to have a discussion like an adult, not willing to get past his political biases here. And so this is what we deal with pretty regularly. I've moved my Steam Night book up to Monday for its release date, and I'm going to just put them on blast on Monday to deal with this. So if this is how they want to treat us, we are going to find out exactly who they are, what they're doing, and why they're doing it, and we're going to make a big fuss about it. So that it will be them and their reputations on the line. To me, they're not only disrespecting me, but they're disrespecting this industry professional that they put as a as their editor and curator of their platform, who picked my book, said it was a good book. This guy's been nominated for Hugo Awards. He's been in the industry a long time. Somebody respected by everybody, and it's a slap in the face to him too. This is saying that he doesn't have the right to choose authors who he believes write good books. It's saying that good books don't matter. It's saying that only politics matter to these people, and they need to be outed for that, because this company touts themselves as being author friendly and as being somewhere that helps authors and independent authors. And obviously, they're trying to do anything but by trying to libel me to this other industry professional and trying to remove me from the platform. So we're going to take care of it, and it's like we always do, and we will not let this behavior stand. We're gonna make this a big deal. And we'll do that in conjunction with the release of the Steam Night, which I've got going. I've already got a lot of pre-orders on this, which makes me happy. And I haven't talked about this a ton, and it's partially a re-release. So I've got this up again for Monday. And this is a re-release because I've got I had those 3 novellas of the James Gentry stuff that ties into my Von Monocle series and helps further the world there. And it's because readers asked for it. My Patreon supporters said, "Hey, we'd like to see stuff from James' perspective, so you can develop him more." And I answered the call there. But I didn't feel like putting those really short books in print, and so I'm now putting this in print as one book, adding it to the series proper. In hopes to get some of the readers who didn't come over because they didn't see it in the series here, and also to get people who wanted to wait for a nice big print edition of this book to come out. And I think that since this was going to be a steampunk-centric project, which I was going to be involved in, this would have sold a lot. It would have gotten a lot of people interested in this platform who might not have seen it otherwise. I would have promoted the hell out of it, which is something I do over here. So they're really going to lose out on a lot, and they're going to face some heavy boycotts from people who do not want to tolerate this kind of discrimination any longer. So that's where we're at. Whew! There's my monologue.
Wow.
I'm angry. Righteous.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The stupidness of it.
Yeah, it's insane, and I know where it comes from. This company is a San Francisco Bay Area company. They're based here, and they probably came across me because of the discrimination that Worldcon did against me 2 years ago, and that's what they're upset with interacting wise. I have interacted with them once before, and it was actually pitching a project to them. So they said I was trolling them, but I pitched a project to them, and I'll actually, once I out this company, I will read the project that I pitched to them. It was actually a very good project. They would have made a ton of money off of it, and they just decided to be jerks to me because of identity, and that's the sad state of affairs where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like it, fine. Okay, leave me alone. Let me sell my book. I'm not. You don't have to buy it.
Well, yeah.
Have to like it.
Unfortunately, in the way that internet platforms work at this point, if these companies deplatform and take you out of the public square to where people can see you and buy the book, then it's different, and that it's almost like a utility access. And I always talk about this. It's not just that. It's not just like buying a book or not buying the book. They don't really have to do anything in this instance other than just provide access so I could sell my book to customers who want to buy it. And that's what I was trying to get going here. They're doing this just to attempt to harm me in my career. It's really upsetting. It's somebody who wants to put their stick in the ground. They want to hurt business. And when a business can't be about business and won't be about providing products to people over politics, we have a real problem. We see this problem, honestly, with YouTube quite a bit. We see it with Twitter. We see it with Facebook. And if the average person can't get access to the public square where everybody's at, where everybody is interacting in order to sell products or just to give their speech, we have a huge problem with our society. And it needs to be addressed. Honestly, it's past time that the government took action to protect their citizens against these corporations. And I think I've gotten rid of most libertarians who follow at this point because corporations are a big problem. Corporations are not people. Corporations are often evil. Corporations do not respect people who work. They do not respect their consumers on average. And so protections need to be put in place to make sure everybody has a fair shot at the market.
Yeah, corporations, most of the time they're about their bottom line. It's about their money, usually their bottom line money. But
it's not even that, because a lot of them are so short-sighted. Like I said, having my book in this, I'm a best-selling steampunk author, 4 times over. So if they want to do something in the steampunk genre and I'm in it with a new book, it would be a lot of big sales for them. But this guy just wants to hurt his sales all over some sort of shit to try to slap me and try to force me out of the business. And I'm not going to take it lying down. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Drake asks, there's no additional content in the Steam Night. I'll be during the print version. The Steam Night is comprised of night training, guard training, and spy training. So if you've read those, you technically don't need to reread this. After night training, the other 2, I think it was because of my release. I released guard training like right before Christmas. And I think my timing just kind of screwed the series on that. And so those really didn't do the sales of the rest of my steampunk series. And so I wanted to give another shot. They weren't connected, right? So Amazon's all about like connecting your series right here. And I had them in a totally different series, which I think was a mistake. I think it's better to just put it all in the same series so that people can click right through. People are lazy in general. Yeah. And so those just didn't do as well as the others. So I really want to give those a shot so people can see them and actually read those stories. Now, what I did put in there is a little short story that was not on Amazon before. It's called, what was it called? Hazing. But Drake, if you're you're a Patreon subscriber, so you already have Hazing, so you don't need to buy a Kindle version. Definitely. Now, Hazing was intended because there's a rank system within my knights, and I do it much like Anne McCaffrey's. You remember the Harper Hall in the Anne McCaffrey's books, and they had their harpers who were like their record keepers and their teachers, and they were really bringing Pern's knowledge to everybody, and they were revered, right? I wanted the knights to be a sort of thing where they were revered like that. And so I used the rank system from the Harper Hall there, which is apprentice, journeyman, and master, which is a standard guild hall or professional system anyway. But it's really a nod to Anne McCaffrey there. And so that's what we have. And James starts out as an apprentice, and he ends up as a journeyman by the time we get to spy training. So I wanted to show, because I really enjoyed in Anne McCaffrey's books, there's 2 elements I really enjoyed, which were kind of just like little fun short story events that she often put into her books. And it was promoting characters. So you'd see like a dragon rider, become a dragon rider or whatever, the weird leader become the weird leader, or somebody get promoted to journeyman or whatever. And that always felt good for the characters, especially for the characters I loved. I liked seeing that, even though it's not a lot of conflict, but I don't think conflict has to happen all the time. I don't think you need something negative to happen to the characters all the time for things to be fun. I think watching characters grow and win is another fun thing for stories.
Yeah.
And I also like the dragon hatching eggs. I thought that was a lot of fun in the Anne McCaffrey stuff too. And I can't really do that because there's no like dragon eggs in my steampunk story. But I do have the ability to promote people in ranks and different things. And so I wanted to write a story just for funsies to do that. And so that's what Hazing ends up being. And it's pretty cute. Yeah, it's on there. And if you have trouble finding it, just text me later. I'll send it to you. Try to take care of my Patreon subscribers. And I do have a James story in the pipeline for Patreon also that I'm going to try to get going along with this. Where did I go with this? Short stories. I think I wrote an outline for it, and I just haven't written it yet. Did I? I don't see it in my short story folder, so maybe I didn't. Maybe I thought about writing an outline and didn't write an outline. That's possible too. Let me look in my my other folder for my Von Monocle novels and see if it ended up in there. But yeah, what I'm trying to do with a bunch of short stories also is, let's see what we got. Hazing, night training. Maybe I didn't. Looks like I didn't. Okay, well, I need to write an outline. I want to do another James short story. I'm trying to, through Patreon, write short stories every month, which of course then collects the money every month so that, you know, I can pay for editing and comic book art and things like that, which I'm trying to provide more of. But I also like things that I could sell twice. And this is a big part of business strategy. Is this your first comic?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a business strategy, and I'll talk to you about this because it's kind of fun. Selling things twice, or selling things 3 times, or selling things 4 times, the more you can sell things that's the same work you did, the better. And the reason I wanted to put Steam Night into this other situation, this other platform, was because I'd be selling it without cannibalizing my readership with going to someone else. Being able to get different people checking on it, right? Who might not have seen it because it's on a different platform or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I've already sold these as novellas, right? And I've already actually put them on Patreon before that as novellas for my Patreon subscribers. So my Patreon subscribers get things first. It then became novellas. Now it's becoming a package of the novellas into one book, right? So I'm selling this book already 3 times, and I've also got it on audio, so 4 times.
Yeah.
So that's the fun thing right here. And eventually I'll put a Von Monocle box set together, so it'll be 5 times, right? This is the worst commercial for Canadian Shield I ever heard. I'm sorry. Buy Canadian Shield. I just talk, guys. It is what it is. Just is what it is. I just talk. But you can mirror this with Canadian Shield, because you can put out Canadian Shield on Indiegogo. You can upload it on Amazon afterwards. When Canadian Shield gets to, how many issues are you planning on going?
Oh, it's supposed to be ongoing.
Ongoing. Or whenever you get to a reasonable stopping point or whatever, you can put it into a graphic novel form, right? And then resell it as the graphic novel, right?
Yeah.
And those are ways to resell things and to keep a product life fresh, because people only pay attention to stuff that's new.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you'll eventually see a Canadian Shield omnibus do this chat. Exactly. See, sorry, Dylan, you don't get my my examples of marketing speak. If you watch some more of my stuff, you'll understand what I'm doing. But yeah, Id Prism here totally understands. This is exactly what I'm getting at. When you sell things multiple times, you create a fresh new product for new people to find. Often people like, you'll see Drake up here says, where'd he go? Where'd this go? I'll be ordering, there's no additional content. I'll be ordering the print version, right? So Drake already got all the content, and he's going to order the print version because there's a new print version and it was only an ebook before, right?
Yeah.
So you'll find that you have very loyal people who, which I really much appreciate you, will go through and actually buy things multiple times. And this is why you see Marvel and DC re-release a lot of the content at the same times. And even Image, or all these comic companies do this, because they actually ran studies on this, and they found that the people who buy the individual issues will actually buy the graphic novel version again when that comes out. And it seems counterintuitive. But you've got somebody who really loves the book and really wants to support the creators. They've got their issues. They might want a bookshelf piece. They might want to give their issues to friends and then or resell the issues or get the graphic novel version. You never know why they might just want everything you do, right?
Yeah.
And so you never know why, but they do, and they're often prone to support that. And then when you come out with the omnibus edition, of collected of 4 graphic novels or whatever, they'll buy that again. So you keep getting special editions and special editions out, and it's no skin off your back because you've already paid your artists. You've already got all of it done. All you need to do is get a new cover and kind of bind it together and put it together for a print file. And it ends up being a good business model to re-release things that way. So that's That's my marketing tip for the day is re-release all your content all the time and always treat the old as new and keep coming out with new product, because whenever it's new, that's when the eyeballs are going to get on it, no matter what platform you're on.
Yeah, that's why again with that's why I want to be ongoing comics. There's always something new the next month.
Awesome. So how fast do you think your schedule is going to be on this one?
Well, I have already gotten the first 8 issues written of Canadian Shield, and I've gotten 8 issues of my character Snowdrift written. I've got 12 issues of my character the Flame written, 5 of my Insecto, 1.5 of my character Ozona, I think 4 or 5 for my character The Wiz, and 2 for my character Electide. And the only reason I probably don't have more of some of them is because the villains overlap, and so I want to make sure I have good continuity. Be able to talk about maybe a little something that happened in the books before. That way, somebody maybe they haven't read the books before. Oh, now they'll go read those books.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to do things. I love tying in stuff too. I don't know. I think my readers like that too. So it like the James thing has its own storyline going, but it weaves in and out of my main storyline of the Von Monocle series. And I think it adds to the Von Monocle series, and it brings, I think, new people in when they check out one of the books. It's like, then you can kind of get into the other thing. And I like these kind of like sideways long, and I think this comes from Comic Love, because if you look at the Marvel universe, are you a Marvel or DC guy, or both?
I'm both. I'm probably a little bit more DC, as I figured out recently when sorting my comics, but I like both.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, if you look at DC, like there's a lot of lateral world building where you've got all these characters kind of building the same thing together, and when you reach those events like Crisis or whatever, you get a greater enjoyment of the story if you've read all of those different single stories that may not have anything to do with each other at the time, but because you know all the characters and then they all interact together in this crossover or whatever, it ends up being a really cool thing. And I think that comics are really good about doing that. And I think books like novels and stuff like that, and TV a lot, you don't get a lot of that, right? You get spin-offs sometimes, but like there's never this like big universe that kind of gels together often like we see in the comic book setting, which is what makes comic books charming. Yeah.
Although one that's done it the CW has been doing it a lot with theirs.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
But it's the first. Although you have seen some crossovers in the past, like the original Magnum crossed over with Simon and Simon, and it crossed over with Murder, She Wrote.
It crossed over with Murder, She Wrote?
Yeah, there was a crossover.
I didn't see that. That's pretty cool. Kevin Cummings, was that your wife? Like I saw it like for like an instant right there?
Yeah. She goes, "Oh, are you on video?" And I go, "Yeah, you're on video now."
Oh. Can we talk to her instead of you? Because like, I mean, we have too many dudes on this channel.
I know.
So what do you think? I love crossovers. You love crossovers. Do you love crossovers?
Yeah.
I like crossovers.
I'm planning a crossover once a year in my comic books.
For all of your comic books and just doing something like that?
I think the best way they should do a crossover, if they're going to do it, is just have one that they do all the time that incorporates like everybody. There's always something going on. And then don't let it affect any of the other books.
Praise Jesus for this commentary. I mean,
who needs
get so annoyed when I'm reading Spider-Man and the Civil War happens and it stops my storyline for 6 issues to have this crossover, and then it just restarts the storyline back up, and it's just like, dang it, like why'd you do that for me for 6 months? I think there's a much better way to do it.
Just do this. these stories aren't always happening at the same time.
Right.
You just go, this occurs, just one word that says this occurs after blankety blank, and you keep going. You know.
Ooh, Drake
occurred before blankety
Drake
blank.
made a great pun, and he did crossover, but with the cross emoji. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's the biggest crossover.
That's the biggest crossover.
Mm-hmm. It's the best crossover.
Let's see. Here's a guy that can sell me sand in a desert from his car on his way to class. Do you are you a sand salesman?
No, I live in Kansas. We just got dirt.
You just got dirt. I lost a bet to you.
Oh yeah.
I
I sent you a picture of Patrick Steve Austin this morning.
I know. I thought about flagging it for hate speech.
He's half black though, so he's half right.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So I owe you now. For those who didn't tune in to the vacation stream, yes, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. They defeated my San Francisco 40. I'd say my San Francisco 49ers choked is actually more accurate. I think they just stopped playing in the fourth quarter. They removed their game plan.
Ran the ball.
Yes.
They were running all over.
They were running it was 9.5 yards per carry. And the San Francisco 49ers then just like decided to pass every single play. They didn't run once in those last 3 drives. And it's like, what the heck are you doing? Especially since you're up by 10, you want to run the clock out. Like, that makes no sense.
There's a lot of talk over like penalties and stuff like that. And it's like, you can get in the weeds, but the biggest thing is if they would have ran the ball, they'd be Super Bowl champs right now.
They would be. Yeah. Well, so would the Seahawks from however many years ago, too. If
Run it right at the middle.
Right. And that seems to be, I mean, there's 2 Super Bowl losses in recent history that are due to passing when you should have been running. That's very interesting. So, but on the other hand, Mahomes seized the opportunity at that. I mean, he made that crazy 50 whatever yard pass and was just like on fire at the right moment and totally came through at the same time. So I can't take away all the credit from him because the dude's a stud.
Yeah, he wasn't playing very good, and then when he needed it, he pulled the Dan Marino, Brett Favre, whichever great you want to throw out there. Probably Brett Favre because he always played terrible, and then like when he needed to be great, was good.
Yeah, definitely pulled the Brett Favre right there. That's a good one. Do you watch football up there in Canada? Are you there? No? Maybe not. Blink twice if you can hear me. Blink 3 times if you can hear me. No. I think he can't hear me now. That's interesting.
He went deaf listening to our football talk.
Yeah, I know that always happens. So, and I get the same thing when I talk about shoes. Should I talk about? Maybe he'll come back if I talk about shoes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, Canadian Shield looks pretty fun. So, I'll just go through this. We got a Digital Shield. We got a buckler, Ashcan. What's in the buckler? There you are.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. It's just once Captain Cummins came in, my internet goes bad, and
I ruined the stream.
So, do you know Captain Cummins? Are you familiar with him?
I've heard of him.
All the bad things are true.
All the bad things are true.
Okay, I've heard of him. I haven't watched many of his programs.
He makes great cooking videos.
What the buckler Ashcan is, John Gillard created a non-canonical sidekick and for the Canadian Shield who goes bad, and I put that and he's put an Ashcan together, so I put it in. It's not part of my universe, but I've lent him my Canadian Shield to create the character, so.
Very cool. Oh, I'm getting attacked on Twitter.com. Imagine that.
Ooh, nice.
Um, imagine that. Cool. So what's the Buckler Ashcan? Tell us about that.
The Buckler is a character, like I said, John Dillard created. He's supposed to he wants to be the Canadian Shield sidekick, but he foils up royally and he gets a dressing down by the Canadian Shield, and ends up, because of that dressing down, he becomes a villain. Tries to become the nemesis of the Canadian Shield at that point.
Very cool.
Dillard could probably tell a little bit more about that character than me, because I haven't focused a lot on that character.
Nice.
But he's been a big help with me on the campaign, beefing up my inks and all that. So I figured I owed it to him to put it into the campaign. Plus, it gets me a little bit more money. And lots of people are liking the character too. So
we have a question in the chat from Eric Hawkins. Do they still have a Canadian Football League?
Yeah. Well, there's a Canadian Football League, the CFL.
There you go.
And actually, it's technically a little bit harder than the American.
Oh, fighting words.
Well, we have a larger field. We have 10 extra yards. We, instead of having 4 downs to make the 10 yards, we have only got 3, and I think the football is smaller, so it's harder to catch.
Wow. Okay. Well,
there you go.
I can't verify any of that, but since I can't, I have to take your word for it, I guess.
I'm just assuming that he's drunk.
Oh man, where are you from?
I do know this though. When Ocho Cinco left and went to the Canadian Football League, he didn't last there very long.
Whoa, wasn't Ocho Cinco kind of washed up at that point though?
Yeah,
but everybody always figures it's the Canadian League, so he's got to be good there.
That's true.
I've heard about this, but I'm not sure how true it is. That if an NFL are trying to come over to the Canadian League, they have a harder time getting getting into it, being able to do it. But a Canadian guy going into the NFL has an easier time. Just because of those,
sense, like you said, if you're used to 3 downs, 4 downs is like going to be great, unless you're on defense, I guess. I don't know
either.
The bigger football though seems like probably the most significant, because if you're playing with a smaller football,
does that make it harder or easier to bring, harder to see? I guess you got, does that make it harder?
Especially if you're a quarterback, because quarterbacks are they're very picky about their footballs.
It could be easier to throw because the football's kind of a large, weird size, right?
Well, it depends. We know that Tom Brady would like the ball to be smaller,
right?
Because he has a smaller hand. But Aaron Rodgers would want it to be bigger.
Interesting. Just so it depends on who you are. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. What else did I have?
And that's all based off that Deflategate stuff from you.
One thing that for the first person that buys the $300 tier where you get the figurine, is going to get John Dillard has a splash page here. Let me bring it up.
Oh, you made a figurine. I saw this at the bottom. I wanted to ask you about this. So you've actually designed how big is this figure going to be?
Peter, what's his name? I didn't design. I helped design it with somebody who does 3D modeling and all that. But it's going to be about 8 inches tall. I think 5 inches wide, 4 inches deep. The pier called the Canadian Shield thing there should say But if you see this splash, the first one that gets that one will get this from John Dillard. It's going to be the 2-page splash in the ash can.
Cool. That's pretty neat. How so you've got a process for like making these?
Yeah, my friend in Toronto is going to be making them.
Sweet.
Yeah, as they're ordered and all that. So none have been ordered so far.
So he's got like a 3D printer, basically.
Yeah.
Neat.
Peter Katz, he's the one that I'm not sure whether you heard of the book Joe King.
I feel like I've met him or talked to him.
Yeah, he did that.
Cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the $1,500 tier, my big one. You get everything in that tier, and I come to you. I hand deliver it to you.
Awesome. Cool stuff. Well, Drake says he's a bit of a Canada fan after all. There you go. He likes the concept. Nice. All right, we've got 11 hours left on this campaign, so definitely check it out when you can. And I'll be bringing news of what's going on with my new blacklisting as it shows up. I also announced new news today, which a lot of people are very excited about. I announced my cover artist for my forthcoming book, Robotoad Wrecked Manlet. And it's going to be a book direct to Amazon as it comes out. If you miss it on Amazon, we will be doing an Indiegogo variant campaign cover. And then we will be doing an Indiegogo sketch cover campaign with a sketch by me on it. I cannot draw, just as a disclosure. And then I will be doing a Indiegogo campaign line art variant cover. And then I will be doing an Indiegogo campaign proof copy variant cover. And then I will be doing an Indiegogo campaign second chance cover. So between all that, you better not miss Robotoad Wrecked Manlet. The artist involved is George Alexopoulos, who is the creator of Mary Sue, a comic book that he actually went from start to finish. He wrote it, did it all himself, and did all the art himself, and actually bought comic book paper himself and printed it himself and stapled them himself, bound them himself, shipped them himself. I mean, he really did it from start to finish from scratch, which I really, I'm very impressed by, because I'm way too lazy to do all that stuff. And he's a really good artist. Let me see if I can pull up some of his art. He's got a piece of art from his Mary Sue stuff right here. And I really like his art, so I'm very happy to have him on board to be doing the Wrecked Manlet cover. Will there be a coin campaign with some copper pennies? I will consider that. If there's enough demand for selling Wrecked Manlet coins, we will put Wrecked Manlet coins for sale. What do you think? Are you in for a coin, Captain Cummings?
No. I mean, I don't pay for challenge coins. I get presented.
Oh, that's right. That's what they do, huh? Yeah. I did make a challenge coin of one of my comic books, and it was fun. I like labeling it challenge coin more than collector's coin, because if you get challenge coin, you add that nice sort of military connotation to it. What do you got? What are your challenge coins, and how did you earn them? This is pretty cool.
Here's the one. Oh shit!
Are you familiar?
So this one. This one's the funniest.
Here we go.
I got this one, and as you can see, it just looks like a poker chip.
Okay.
I got this for replacing a light bulb in a master sergeant's bedroom.
Just a light bulb change.
Yeah, he goes, here you go, and he puts it in his hand, and he puts it in my hand. I'm like, thank you, I guess. Other than that, I don't. I got to be honest, I paid for the rest of them, but
you said you don't pay for them. All right. Well,
when I went to school, I bought that one,
Beautiful.
Which one's this one? Oh, this is Cautionary Comics. So that came with the I Hate Men comic?
Oh yeah.
What's this one?
Drake says, "How many challenge coins does it take to change a light bulb?" Just one, apparently.
Shepherd Air Force Base. That's another Shepherd Air Force Base coin. This one is from Silver Flag, and it's got a beer opener. So if you're ever in a pinch, you can challenge somebody to a beer and then open that beer with it.
That's cool.
Oh, here's Forbes Field. So I think I might have been actually presented that one. Probably when I enlisted or something. Silver Flag. This one's from the Missouri.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Nice. That's a pretty good collection right there. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll just call it challenge coins, and that way I'll sound more official and authentic than if I called it a collector's coin, I think. Right?
And then when we went to go build the building for the Girl Scouts, they gave us this. So it's not so much a challenge coin, but a patch.
Nice.
For the Girl Scouts.
And that's when you were just in Hawaii doing some work down there, yeah? That was from that?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was really fun. It was actually a lot of hard work. You go, I thought they warned us. They were like, don't be so excited to, go have fun. And I was like, that should have been like indication number one. And then we got there and I'm like, we're just working our balls off. And I'm like, this isn't what I signed up for.
You're getting
like,
called out
no,
by Drake. He says, LOL, you have a Girl Scout badge.
Yeah, I earned that badge.
I just went. I had a vacation. I'm just freshly back from that. I didn't even talk about it yesterday. That was pretty cool. I was happy to have Omar on here. Are you guys familiar with Omar from Near Mint Condition? You guys watch him? You are, aren't you? No.
What? Oh, yesterday.
Omar. Yeah. He's a really great guy and has a wonderful YouTube channel. So. But I didn't talk about my vacation. I also went to a tropical island, and I did not work. Did not work at all. I went snorkeling in the coral reef, saw some fishies.
Yes.
They have a little thing there called Iguana Island, and it's not really an island. It's more of like a peninsula that's kind of mostly, not connected. And these iguanas just stay there, and there's 5,000 iguanas on this little small area. 5,000, and some of them get pretty big. I mean, I saw one that was like, "Where's my?" I don't have a good perspective from this, but it was pretty big. And they just kind of hang out there, and you just kind of walk around and look at a bunch of lizards. So that was pretty fun. Let's see, what else do we? I drank heavily, believe it or not. And my friend got married, so I had that. We had a good wedding for him.
Mm-hmm.
Met some cool locals. Super nice people, the locals. And then that's it. Then I just hung out on the beach. So
locals are always fantastic because they want your money.
Right? Yeah, they definitely do. And they're super nice to you. But it's I don't know. It's more. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I always have a fun time wherever I go.
I have a fun time wherever I go too. So maybe one day I'll make it up to Canada. I've never been there.
Me neither.
Yeah, and we can have a Canadian Shield when we go. So I'm at my hour and my phone's starting to ring off the hook again. So I'll just show Canadian Shield real quick. It's in the description for you guys. Check out the book, support Christian comics, enjoy stuff like this. And I love that Pope Raven's doing the coloring. Guy's a good guy. And of course, Cross Comics is great stuff. Richard's been a good friend for a while. So definitely support that. And the Christian Comic Arts Society, if you look them up, it's a good group of people who I want to support all their projects just because, they're just chill, solid people for the most part. And I think that's it. You got anything to add, Richard?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what Captain Cum's real name was, so I know there's a bunch of Richards in this community. So, the other thing is, I do have a contest going on to the end of this month. Anybody can create their own version of the Canadian Shield, give it a little bit of powers, tell what his powers are, bio, and who I'm going to have a straw poll early in March, and whoever wins, they're going to be their version is going to be into a trading card
Sweet.
for the campaign. Everybody will get it.
That's pretty fun. Awesome. Cool contest. Check it out, guys. And yeah, support indie comics. And I think that's all. I think support indie comics needs to be my tagline for signing off from now on. I like that. And I like being associated with that. Cool. Good night, guys. And might be back tomorrow. I am going to be back tomorrow. I have my accountant coming on tomorrow. This is going to be so exciting.
Ooh.
So you will not want to miss this because there is nothing more exciting than taxes.
Oh yeah, and I will be extending the campaign too.
Okay, cool. So you got more time.
Yeah.
Taxes are my favorite.
Taxes are my favorite. And the best thing is my accountant agreed to come on the stream, and then he dropped my tax return on me, and I saw the dollar amount that I owe, and I'm not happy. So, so there might be some drama.
Yeah, somebody the other day posted something about like, you people that hate taxes, give me your tax refund. And I was like, do you want to pay my refund? Because
Right. Oh,
I'm
joy.
usually worried about owing money.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But we'll learn about that, and we'll learn about why having a proper accountant and things like that is important as an artist or as a writer. For these, it can get a little complicated in these careers, and Chris has some tips and tricks you might be able to use yourself, or you might be able to use his services, which I was also, he's a good Christian guy also, which is why I hired him, and that's something that should be fun for people tomorrow, or maybe it won't be fun, but it'll at least be informative.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. All right, support indie comics, support Canadian Shield. Good night.
Right.